Many organizations need the flexibility to use one or more pricing structures. Pricing management in Dynamics 365 allows organizations to set up their pricing structures based on their needs. This can be done using the pricing tree and by setting up different pricing components like base price, margin, discounts, charges, and rebates. I'm Tommy Skaue, Senior Solution Architect at Microsoft. In this video, which is part of a series on pricing management in Dynamics 365, we'll look at the price component code and the price tree, which helps in setting up one or more pricing structures. Now, before I continue, I would like to emphasize that this video is one of a series of recordings made to cover the different topics and aspects of unified pricing management. We recommend watching all of the videos for a holistic view and a full understanding on how to configure pricing management and ensure it fits your unique needs while keeping your setup clear and efficient. For this part of the price component code and price tree, we would recommend first watching the previous video on price attributes. Let's start with a quick high-level overview of the pricing structure. In Dynamics 365 pricing management, you will see that price components are the key building blocks of your pricing strategy. Each one of these components is detailed in separate presentations. But let's go through them one by one. The price component drives prices through base price determination, trade agreements, and standard item cost. The margin component adjusts the price at the time of the order, and you can do things like a seasonal adjustment. The discount component applies various discounts options, for example, mix and match, promotions, quantity discounts, and coupons. The charges components further adjusts the price, like for example, a shipping fee. The rebates components includes options like quantity-based or value-based rebates. These components utilize price attributes for flexible pricing definitions, incorporating information from customers, products, sales order headers, and sales order lines. You can also extend beyond default attribute groups, and you can use price groups to bundle and rank attributes for custom pricing strategies. You should also know that you can have more than just one pricing structure per company in Dynamics 365. To explain how this all works, we are using our demo data from Contoso Entertainment System so that you can follow our steps in your own demo environment. Contoso Entertainment Systems is a company that manufactures, distributes, and installs home electric equipment. Building on the existing demo data, we will demonstrate how you can add additional configuration to see how everything fits together. Now, Contoso has two main distribution channels. There is business to consumer, also referred to as B2C. This is where they sell directly to consumers through physical stores, an online e-commerce website, through mobile apps, and even a call center where customers can order through phone or email. Then there is business to business, also referred to as B2B. This is where they work with other wholesale partners, their various resellers, and they also have a sales team to handle the larger business orders. Now, in these demos, you'll see how unified pricing management helps Contoso manage competitive and consistent pricing across all their channels. Pricing is driven by a mix of price attributes like channels, customer affiliations, loyalty programs, and even order attributes. Throughout the presentation series, we'll be using this Contoso demo data as our example to show how you can manage prices more efficiently, and whether it's running promotions, offering discounts, or adjusting prices for different products or regions, Contoso's pricing stays flexible and scalable. This way, no matter the channel or customer type, their pricing is consistent across all touchpoints. Let's take a look at the price tree options. The price component code is the main element in the pricing structure. As previously mentioned, we have components like price, margin, discount, charges, and rebates. These components need to be set up based on the business requirements. Some component codes, like the base price and trade agreement component, can only be set up once per structure. Others can have multiple component codes of the same type within the same structure, providing strong flexibility for most scenarios. By default, there will be a single structure per company, ensuring uniformity. However, if you need multiple structures for the same company, you will need multiple price trees. This can be achieved by enabling the option in the pricing parameter and creating the necessary price trees. The system differentiates between them using an attribute defined on the orders, which you specify for each tree. Now, let us demonstrate using the scenario of Deborah Garcia setting up a new price tree to support both a business-to-consumer and a business-to-business pricing setup. Deborah is planning to set up two price trees where the business-to-business will have a deal discount as a discount price component, and on the business-to-consumer, she wants to add an additional promotional discount price component. She will be using a line of business attribute group having the B2B and the B2C, and she plans to also create price trees with similar names. For the demonstration, I will be following these steps. I will first start by showing the existing price component code setup that we have in our Contoso demo data, focusing on what is relevant for this demonstration. Next, I will show the default price tree that comes from the out-of-the-box configuration. I will then show some of the relevant attribute and attribute groups that are set up. Now, here's for the interesting part. I will first disable the default price tree. Then I will head over to the price management setup and change the parameters to enable multiple price trees and define how I want to differentiate between the price trees. Then I'll go back to price trees setup and create the new price trees and enable them. Finally, I will show how you can test this setup either by working on sales orders or by using the price simulator. Let us now have a look at how this is configured in the system. Here I have the Contoso demo data, and I'm looking at the USMF company. I will head over to the module where you can configure these price trees. It's under pricing management and under setup and price component codes. Here you will find the page for all of the price component codes and the price trees. Let us first have a look at the price component codes. You can see here that we've already defined a series of component codes. We have base price, we have sales trade agreement, we also have some margin component codes created, and we have some discount component code created. So this is where you would be defining all of the various component codes and how the attributes are used for these. Next, have a look at the price trees. The default setup will have a price tree called inheritance, and you'll find here that I've configured all of these component codes in this tree. I have only one base price, only one sales trade agreement, and then I have the multiple margins and multiple discounts. If I were to try to insert a new base price here, let's give it a ranking of sorts and try to save that, it will tell me that I can only have one component code for the base price. So, and then for margins, I could have multiple ones. You'll also notice that this structure here is not applicable for multiple trees. And this is not something you can change. This is the default setting for this tree structure. Okay, so now I have only one single price tree structure for my company defined. Now, what if I need to have multiple price trees enabled? So let's see how we can configure this. I want to use the line of business, business to consumer, business to business as a differentiator between two different price trees. And And the way I'm going to do this is I will be using the default customer attribute group. So if I go to the module of product information management and under setup and under categories and attributes and attribute groups, I can find that I do have a attribute group named customer attribute group. And in there, I have a line of business attribute. It's also important to know that this attribute line of business is can be used for price management. So let's have a look at the first thing I need to do is I need to go back to the price trees, and then I need to disable the existing price tree. So I go back to pricing management under setup and price component codes and price trees. I have the existing enabled price tree. I need to disable it first. So I'll disable it. Next, I will go to the pricing management parameters, still under the same module and under setup. And then I'll find price attribute. And then I can, under the price tree option here, I can then say enable multiple price trees. I need to also define which attribute I will be using for this, to differentiate between the trees. Now it's going to show me the line of business attribute here, but if I were using a different attribute group for the sales order, you would see that I could actually pick other attributes here to differentiate. But the one I want to use is the one for the customer attribute group. So I'll pick line of business. Next, we will be going back to the price trees, again in the price management module under setup, price component codes and price trees. And I need to create the new price trees. So I will be creating one for the default scenario business to customer, and it's going to look similar to this one. So let's do that. I create a new price tree. I will call it B2C. And I'll go ahead and add the various component codes. Oops. And sales trade agreement. But for the sake of this demonstration, I will stop here, but you can imagine that I'm completing all of this setup for this B2C price tree, making it look similar to this one here. Then I also here have it selected for apply to multiple price trees so that it gets picked up. I also need to go into price tree attributes here and say that this is going to be the one for B2C. Then I need to create the one for B2B. So again, you would set up the various component codes you want for this tree. Let's do 2 of them, but you get the general idea is I'm creating different trees here. And I also need to go into price tree attributes for this one and make sure that it has a value defined for B2B. So now I have 2 different trees. Both of them are applicable for multiple tree scenario. And now I can enable both of them. And they are both active now. Okay, now let's have a look at how this works in action. Here I'm in the USRT Contoso retail company, and I'm looking at all of the sales orders. I've created myself a sales order against Mara Gentry. And if I open up this sales order, I will see that I have a sales line against the item 1105. There's a quantity of 3, and I have a unit price there. There's no discounts. Now I know this customer is a business to customer type of a business to customer type. But let's try to see what happens if I change this sales order so that it's using a business to business attribute setting. So I'll be opening up the price menu, and under sales order attributes, I will find the attributes that are for my sales order lines. And I want to see one of them is set to business to customer. Now I'm going to change this to business, and I'm going to head back. I'm going to open up the cell menu, and under the calculate, I'm going to do a recalculate, and let's see what happens. So what happens now, it took my 3 items and it split it up. I have one line with 2 items, and then I have one line with 1 item. So what's happening here? I can see that I have a discount for the line with 1 item, and I don't have a discount for the line with the 2 items. Now, what happens here is that it's using my price tree setup to figure out which tree it's going to use. So let's jump over and have a look at the price tree. And the price tree you will find under the module price management and under setup and price trees. For the USRT, I went ahead and I created 2 different price trees. I have the business to business and the business to consumer. And generally, the only difference between the 2 right now is that the business to consumer has base price, sales trying agreement, general price adjustment, product-based price adjustment, and deal discount. Whereas the business to business has all of the same ones, but in addition, it has a promotional discount. So that is the only difference between the 2. The business to business has a promotional discount. So let's have a look at the promotional discount. So where can I find the promotional discount? It's under the module again for pricing management, and then in the during sales pricing and discounts. So let's have a look at the discounts. Quite a few discounts created in the system, but the one that I'm using here is this one here. So this is a promotional discount. It is enabled, and it also has a setting of quantity limit 1. So that's the reason why it split up my sales order into the sales line into 2 separate lines, where one of them had the discount and whatever was remaining would not have the discount. Finally, let's try to test this out in the simulator. So first I showed you how to test this using a sales order, but there's also a simulator in the system. The simulator is under the, again, under the pricing management module, under the during sales pricing menu, and then there is a price simulator submenu, and there you'll find the price simulator. And here you can create various setups. So there's quite a few in here. I created 2 setups, one for the B2B test and one for the B2C test. And if I look at the B2C test, just as an example, creating a line here against the same item just for testing. And let's change this to, let's say, 2 products. So let me save this to see if anything happens. And it just basically doubled the price. There's no discount happening here. And the B2C here is picking this up from the fact that it's the line of business attribute is set to B2C. I also have a B2B test here, and on this one, the line of business attribute is set to B2B. And on this one, you can see there is a total discount amount here. I have 1 item, and now let's try to change this to, let's say, 3 items and save to see what happens. And you can see that it actually did the same thing that the sales order did. It split this up. So now I have 1 line here with a discount, and then I have 2 lines here without any discount. So what is next? Well, you want to make sure that you also watch the other videos in these series. You can find them by going to aka.ms/UPM bytes. Finally, Thank you, or as we say in Norway, takk, for watching this video, and I wish you a wonderful day ahead.